So as y'all know, I raise like 5 different breeds of rabbits. 4 of which are meat breeds and 1 which is a mini breed that is mostly for show. So you would think that those meat breeds that are bred for large litters and eating would be my most prolific kind of rabbits, right? Wrong. Because I just put nest box in today. 3 are meat breed rabbits and 1 is my Minirex. Hawk could not care less that there is a nest in her box. I don't think Belle even caught again. And then maybe, just maybe, 2 is gonna have babies. She just started getting interested in her box, which makes me very happy. But the one rabbit that is super interested in her nest is Solstice, my Minirex. And it's one of those things where you're like, Maddie, that's just an offshoot. That's one time. It's not one time. That's not how this works in this barn. This is a litter of Minirex. This is another litter of Minirex. Those Minirex are 8 weeks old. My Minirex were the only ones that caught then. And then I have a litter of 4-week-olds, which I didn't have any minis to breed that time, but my Californian had 1 surviving kit, and my Rex had 7 surviving kits. So the numbers are very high towards Minirex right now. And I think this is just the universe's joke. It's going, you have all these meat breed rabbits, but let's make your Minirex have all the babies. It's great from the standpoint of my show lines, don't get me wrong. I'm very happy that I have the flexibility to improve my show lines the way I do. But gosh darn it, I want some babies out of my Callies and my Silver Foxes and my Rex. I keep talking about wanting to get out of Minirex, yet they are the ones who are like, oh, you want babies? I'll give you babies. Every time I talk about getting rid of them in my barn, they're like, bet, let's prove ourselves. And then I have like a million little Minirex babies running around. If y'all want to see something cool, this little guy right here is a Minirex at 8 weeks, and this is a standard Rex at 4. And if you look, they're pretty comparable size-wise. In fact, I think my Rex are still larger than my Minis, just feeling them. But look at the size difference. These guys are half the age of my Minis and are huge. But yeah, the reason I want more of my meat rabbits compared to my Minirex is because look how tiny they are. They're so small and they're cute, but it's not as sustainable on the homestead. Oh well. So you'll want to verify depending on your breed. So you'll want to grab your SOP and read it. But for Minirex, if you look at group 6 broken group, it says broken consists of any recognizable breed, variety, color in conjunction with white. The eye color is to correspond with the eye color specified under the respected solid colored variety. Toenails may be white or colored, no preference to either. So there it doesn't say if it has to be exactly white or exactly black, there's no preference. And then if you go to faults and unbalanced nose marking, unbalanced body marking, scattered white hairs and colored markings, tricolors with conjunction or intermixed colors. And then we look at disqualification from competition, absence of color on the nose, around the eyes, on ears, or for a rabbit so heavy in pattern as to resemble a brooded broken, or light in pattern to resemble a Charlie. Eye color other than called for, excessive scattered white hairs in colored sections, no disqualifications for white spots in colored sections. So the only thing we get about toenail color when it comes to brokens, and at least Minirex, is that toenails may be white or colored, no preference to either. But verify with your breed. And if you have the ability, grab a Standard of Perfection from the ARBA. The book isn't too expensive, and it is definitely a lifesaver. Mine is definitely beat up and does not have a front cover anymore and has been chewed on. But these things can answer all questions when it comes to Standard of Perfection, when it comes to anything from color to eyes to nails to really anything. So when it comes to this page, I'm very evidence-based and I show you the way I do things. Some people have other ways in which they do it and it's completely fine. We'll talk about it. It's a good way to learn from each other. And as long as it's preferenced by this is the way I prefer to do it, then okay, go off, it's fine. To be honest, I, like other rabbit breeders, don't actually care. Because if it works for you, it's the best practice. So if you want to have solid bottom cages compared to wire bottom cages, That's fine, as long as you're taking care of your animals. But what we don't do on this page is we play the whole you're wrong and you have to do it my way game, especially when you can't supply studies and you go off of ethos or pathos arguments. If you do that, I'm going to give you a general warning. Maybe 2 if I'm feeling generous. But if you continue to sit here and push your ideas onto someone else, I will delete your comments and block you. Because everyone has a right to feel the way that they want to feel without you pushing their beliefs on them. So unless you have studies to back it up, and they're valid studies, we've gone over this before, if you have a study with only 10, 20, 30 rabbits in it, split up into multiple groups, it's not a good study. So unless you have a valid study, peer-reviewed, third-party funding, don't push your ideas onto other people. Now, if you want to play the whole, I prefer to do it this way because this is the better way in my rabbitry, perfect, love it for you. Keep pushing and doing what you're doing. Or if you're even of a mind of being like, oh, hey, I don't agree with this. I would never eat rabbit because I'm vegan or I'm vegetarian. Awesome, that's great for you. I'm glad it's working for you. I have a few people that are vegan and vegetarian on here that follow me that I really enjoy talking to be honest. But if you're a militant, just go away, please. So yeah, that's my spiel. Don't be a jerk or you're going to get deleted and blocked. So I've talked about before waiting on your grow outs to see if they're going to be of good show quality or not. Meaning if you have a litter that you're looking at to take to show, do not decide at 8 weeks once they're weaned. And although you can get a good idea, it's not necessarily the best idea. So for instance, y'all know Lulu, I talk about her constantly. She's 12 weeks. And y'all have seen how much she has turned into quite the beauty in 12 weeks. Well, also in that litter, there was this little black doe. This little black doe right here that I was hemming and hawing about, where I was saying that I wanted to like her, but there was something wrong with her. And that I couldn't put my finger on it. So I held her back, and she's 12 weeks old today. So let's reevaluate her. So here's that little doe grown out to 12 weeks. And to be honest, she's not as bad as I thought she was going to be. But she's also not great either for a multitude of reasons. I do like how dense her coat is, but if you look very carefully on her coat, she has these random little silver hairs coming into the black, which are unshowable because they are off in color. She's also pinched in the hindquarters, and she has a long shoulder, and her high point's a little forward, and I think that's what's throwing off her shoulder. So even though she does look better now that she's older and has had some time to fill out, she's still not that great. And it gives you an idea of grow out time and what a little bit more muscle can do, but she's still not all that impressive, and now I definitely know why I don't like her, and it's just because she doesn't have that corrected round shape. Like I said, her shoulder's just a bit too long. She's not as dense as I want her to be from a standpoint of she doesn't have the depth that I want her to have. She's taller than she is wide, and she also needs to fill out here more on the top line. So Lulu definitely is the more preferred of this litter, but this does give you an idea of why you do want to hold back your litter to kind of get an idea, because she wouldn't make a horrible brood doe to improve a program if it weren't for these little tickings of off color through her fur, which is a complete and utter no-go. But other than that, she's not horrible, and she's actually better typed than Penguin is. So if she didn't have those off-colored markings, I might think about keeping her, but it's not worth it with the off hairs as well. So that gives you an idea. When it comes to a litter that looks identical, we won't use ribbon collars for a few reasons. 1, it's more likely that the rabbits will just chew them off, but also 2, they might get it caught on something and hang themselves, so it's not a good idea. So if I have a litter that looks all the same, I have nail polish that I will put either on the back of their neck or the nails, depending on how the mom grooms. Most of them are fine with it on the back of their neck. Or if it's a litter that just has a couple of kits that look the same, on the inside of the ear, I will put a permanent marker mark. Sometimes I'll do a stripe up and down, or sometimes I'll do it side to side, just depending on how many there are. I find raising quail to be more worth it than actually raising chickens or ducks, and that's because they grow out faster. We can get eggs out of them from anywhere from 7 to 10 weeks depending on the time of year, and that's about the time they're ready to be butchered as well. My chickens took about 6 months to start laying eggs. And that's about what it was for raising our heritage roosters as well. But they're kind of on par for butchering when it comes to Cornish, at least for the time length. One quail will feed one adult when we're eating at our household, meaning if we want to have a quail dinner, it takes 3 quail to feed our family of 4, because the younger 2 will split a quail. And when it comes to the eggs, it takes about 3 quail eggs to equate to 1 chicken egg. But where we find they're most profitable is in the selling of day-old chicks. And that's because day-old chicks are extremely easy to sell in my area without using much feed as a return, making them more profitable to pay for the other animals on our farm. Well, y'all, I don't think we calibrated the new incubator correctly because this is the only chicken we got. He's cute, though. They were more than 2 days late hatching, so I decided to crack into them, and a lot of them hadn't developed past the first few weeks. I do have a couple in the incubator right now that they were a couple of days to hatching by the looks of it, so I went ahead, cracked those eggs, and I have them in the incubator, hopefully to absorb their yolks. But that is a lesson for our new incubator in the future, and we gotta come up for a name for this little guy. Alright, so tonight is the last day that I can register anyone for show on Saturday, and as always, I am doing things last minute. But I think who we're going to take this time is we're going to, of course, take Eduardo and Wiley for Silver Fox. And then for Rex, we're going to take Emma and Lizzie, I think. Those two, I just really want to get an outside opinion from a judge as to which they think is better. There are 2 shows going on, so I want to get an outside opinion from 2 different judges. But I got everyone weighed, and I'm going to show them as junior does because that's what weight class they're in, and they're also only 4 months. So my worry was that if they weighed too much, I'd have to show them as seniors. But no worries, they don't weigh too much, so yes! Because although they look nice for their age, they would not do well up against senior animals. It was the same problem I had with my Silver Fox at show, where they were hemming and hawing over whether Eduardo or Wiley should get it. Because, in theory, Eduardo should beat Wiley because Eduardo was at the time an intermediate buck, and an intermediate should always beat a junior according to the judges I was talking to because they have more time to fill out. And yes, Eduardo did have more mass on him, but his type, despite his mass, was not as good as Wiley's. So the judges were hemming and hawing over should they give it to type or should they give it to a more well-defined animal. In the end, Eduardo ended up winning out, but even so, it was still one of those things where they were hemming and hawing about it. So it's the same with the Rex. I wouldn't want to put them in a senior class even if they did make weight because they wouldn't have the filling out and the mass that a true senior does. So yeah, I'm super excited for this weekend, and I'm hoping everything goes well.